They all have such high expectations of me. My clients, my newest colleagues, and even my friends. I thought I learned what justice meant throughout my early years as a lawyer. But as time goes on, I wonder if I strayed too far from what Mia taught me. A single decision that I reflect on all these years later.
Where's that stack of indictments I made yesterday? Mr. Wright, just give me a damn case. Parking ticket? We don't even park our cars here. Hey, Trucy, is that you?
Yep, just got back from the celebration with Athena.
Where did you go?
We went shopping, then we went to a steakhouse, then we got ramen at El Dunes. We went to Gatewaterland. The haunted house was super scary. Then we went back to her place and saw a movie.
Wow, so I see. Good for you. I can't help but feel a little left out by all of this.
Oh, I'm sorry, Polly. We could go shopping together later? By the way, here are Athena's papers that you were still missing.
Thank you.
She felt really bad about turning them in late, but with the Kitaki case, she was totally swamped.
That's understandable. I imagine it got lost in the shuffle when taking a huge case as a new hire and all. Wait, is she a doctor?
What?
Look at this handwriting! I can't tell what she's writing here! Is that a 2 or an F?
Hold it!
Huh?
Apollo, stop for a moment. Please be nice to Athena tonight. She's really exhausted. This case took a lot out of her, and she has enough to deal with mentally.
Oh, right. You're right. I'm sorry.
I know it's been a little stressful to have Daddy giving you all the paperwork to do, but I'm sure you'll get assigned another case too soon enough.
Thanks. Yeah, the cases we did together were really something else. I should be grateful she's getting that early experience too.
I know you are, Polly.
Hey, Apollo, I'm back.
Where did you...
Great, Thena! Can you put our shopping bags over there for me?
Fidget!
I need to get ready for the magic show. See you later?
Oh, yeah, I'll just return back to the grind. You have fun tonight.
Thanks!
So, Athena, I wanted to congratulate you on winning your first case.
Aw, thank you. I feel exhausted.
Hey, that's totally normal. Mr. Wright told me a bit about the situation over the phone.
He seemed really proud of me. Genuinely proud of me.
Of course. He's a great positive force in that way.
Did Trucy give you my casework?
Yes, she did. The handwriting was... yeah, everything looked great. You did a good job filling everything out.
Oh, good. If you say so. Let me know if I screw those up. I feel like I probably will at some point.
All right. Well, either way, you should be proud standing up against Edgeworth and that, what was his name again? That pervert guy.
Ah, Mr. Payne. The name sounds about right to me.
Oh, for sure. A lot of strange people were involved at the restaurant that night, too.
Tell me about it.
Athena, Apollo. I didn't think you'd still be here.
Yeah, still haven't made much progress on the papers.
You seem bothered by something, boss.
Well, there's something I really need to share with both of you. It's maybe not the best time, but you're my closest colleagues these days, and you deserve to know this as a part of this family. I want you to learn from my decisions.
Must be pretty important if you're phrasing it like that. And I mean that sincerely.
I agree. Maybe we should all stay for a while longer, and you can share with us what you need to.
Thanks. I really appreciate that, both of you. Athena, you may recall I've mentioned a certain former client of mine a couple times now. Zak Gramarye.
Oh yeah, the one who's resurfaced after hiding for years, right?
That's right. I wanted to celebrate the victory with him and catch up. It was a really important trial for me, too, so we had a bit of a connection in that sense.
Alrighty, and how did it go, Mr. Wright?
Oh, well, it was a little bit different than what you might expect. We went out to play a legal match of poker.
Well, it seems I found the partner I've been looking for all along.
Over a game of cards?
Why, yes, over a game of cards.
Is that really what happened that night?
Yes.
Huh. That's definitely not what I expected, boss.
Anyways, our reunion last night had me thinking. I need to share with you what happened during that trial, close to 7 years ago at this point.
I haven't seen a single file from a case involving Mr. Gramarye. I know that trial happened, but I'm curious why there's no file on it here. Would you be able to explain that as well?
Of course, Apollo.
Yeah, and anything you'd be willing to share would help us understand where your headspace is at.
Absolutely. Well, this is what happened all those years ago. Okay, running a little behind schedule. It's okay, though. Not the first magician I've defended. Where is Mr. Enigmar? This is my only shot at speaking with him before the trial begins. Oh, Mr. Enigmar. Phoenix Wright. Pleased to meet you.
Alakazam!
Ah!
You mistake me for my inferior brother? I am not who you seek, mister.
Oh, I'm sorry about that.
I am taking the responsibilities he left behind upon entering confinement. His daughter needs much care, as all children do.
I see.
You're Mr. Gavin, I presume? Ho ho!
Actually, I believe you have me mistaken for the previous lead attorney.
What? I would think not. His performances with that guitar would make even the most esteemed performers blush.
Since when did Kristoph perform music? I think we're both confused. What are you doing here, sir?
For you to teach me the underpinnings of fantastic cross-examinations.
Oh, I think I get it now. Sir, you must be looking for the prosecutor of this case. This is the Defendant Lobby.
Alika, no! I must depart.
Well, that was weird.
Mr. Wright, sorry to keep you waiting.
Ah, I'm so glad you're here, Mr. Enigmar.
Of course you're glad. It is I, the spectacular magician of Troupe Gramarye, Zak Gramarye.
I love the enthusiasm. But, I think I'll stick with Mr. Enigmar.
If that is what you believe to be best, my good man.
I have to say, you didn't give me much notice about the case. I would have liked to have had more time to discuss the nuances with you.
Right, yes. I know this performance is quite rushed, but I could not do any better. A magician like myself must never reveal my hand.
I don't miss being swamped with work myself. Not after the incident in the mountains and cracking that government conspiracy in England. It was really a lot.
I'm well aware. You're a good one, Mr. Wright, taking down the biggest magicians in England.
Well, that's certainly one way to describe that experience. Let's not waste any of our limited time, Mr. Enigmar.
Of course.
I've seen some of your performances back when Troupe Gramarye was in its prime. What exactly happened to the troupe? How did we end up here?
Well, my boy, those are some heavy questions to be asking of me.
I understand. but this is really key if I'm going to successfully defend you in court.
Well, what brings me here today is my long history with magic. Troupe Gramarye. We were like family in a way. Me, Thalassa, Valant, Magnifi, and I suppose there was that other guy too, Rias. He was never as close as the rest of us were, but he definitely had a presence. We were all together in it, united by our great leader, Magnifi Gramarye. He was the greatest magician of our generation, and the only other one of his qualities that came close to his skill was his leadership. He always knew what to do, always level-headed. Perhaps he was not the most personally honest person, but he did what he needed to do. For example, the accident. We had a trick called Zak and Valant's quick draw shoot-up. It was dangerous though. The idea is that Valant and I would shoot at each other, but we'd hit everything except ourselves. Well, one day, during a rehearsal, a stage light had become loose and fell on Thalassa. After the accident, we fell apart somewhat. Magnifi used her death as something of a bargaining chip, spinning the story to make it seem as if our trick shot the stage light, causing it to fall. I suppose you could call it blackmail, but it really wasn't that severe. It did fracture us, though. The prior trust and camaraderie between us had mostly gone. The dwindling connection between the troupe reached a new low with the recent death of our leader, Magnifi Gramarye. The police are convinced that someone of course being I, came into Magnifi's room at the hospital and shot him square in the forehead.
Convinced?
It was a point upon which they pressed incessantly during interrogations.
And I have to ask, did you shoot Magnifi Gramarye?
Ha ha ha! What is this, an interrogation? No, of course not. I would never shoot that man.
Huh. No Cyclops. I think that means I can trust him. Of course, there was that time before.
Even though we may have had some strife between us, there still exists in all of us an underlying trust, an underlying brotherhood. No matter how bad things got, neither of us would ever resort to this. The tradition still runs, you know. The secrets and wonder of our performances live on through my daughter. Perhaps you'll meet her.
I see. There has to be more I'm not being told. If I've learned anything these last few years, it's that stories of hardship and departure never feel resolved, even though Mr. Enigmar seems to believe otherwise. There's something about this man. He's holding on to something really significant.
Sorry to be such a downer, my good man. The story is not for the faint of heart, I understand. Ha 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 ha!
Thank you for sharing all of this with me. I'm sure it wasn't easy reflecting on all of this.
It was no concern. I shall see you in the trial, Mr. Wright. Thank you once more.
Mr. Wright? The trial will commence shortly, don't you see?
Don't worry, Kristoph, I'm aware. How was your meeting with the judge?
He's still as complimentary as ever. Despite the change in leading attorney, he assured me it is still quite acceptable for me to act as your co-counsel support.
Really? I didn't realize that was something you'd be okay with.
And why do you say that?
Well, I've known Kristoph since our days at Ivy University. He'd never turn down such a high-profile case. It'd be a chance for him to show that he's probably the best defense attorney west of the Rockies.
I know what you must be thinking, but I simply feel it would be spiteful to walk away from my good friend after gaining our client's incalculable trust. You've accomplished far more than any attorney I know.
Wow, Thank you, Kristoph. So, about Prosecutor Gavin, your brother.
Don't be getting nervous now.
Your brother is also versed in law.
You know, we've always had a bit of a distant relationship. Some sort of disguised cloak over even our friendly interactions. But it can be felt when there.
I think I get what you mean. Sometimes his thoughts fly over my head.
Are you silently critiquing my manner of speech once more?
Anyways, what does Prosecutor Gavin intend on proving?
He wants to prove that he can successfully put criminals behind bars while maintaining as the lead singer of his popular rock band, the Gaviners.
He's in a band? I didn't see this coming. Gavin's brother and basically a rock star?
He certainly has found success with it already, and now Klavier aims to use that sense of justice and become a two-timed legend, to quote his particular self.
Seems a bit selfish to me.
Klavier is a flawed person like us all, but he simply feels he needs to assert what he can be, as it were.
I see.
Be wary of his boyish charms. He gains an awful lot from his persona.
I really didn't see this coming. I'm basically going up against a rock star. Does he know about the history of the Gramarys?
Most certainly. He's a lot more informed than he looks. You'll see what I mean when you enter the courtroom.
It's a very strange case to make your first, but he seems like the type to shoot for the stars.
I'm looking forward to evaluating his performance while helping you succeed at the same time.
I was going to say, seeing you so invested in this trial is definitely helping me feel a little better.
Good. I know you always compare yourself unfavorably to me, but I'm here for you, Mr. Wright. And I believe you can win this trial for our client. Remember, I'm here to assist you.
Defense, the trial is about to begin. Please make your way to the courtroom.
Okay, time to put all of my experience to use. I can do this!
Court is now in session for the trial of Zak Gramarye.
The defense is ready, Your Honor.
Is the prosecution ready?
Yeah! Ready to rock.
Wow, I've never seen someone with such, energy. I believe I've seen you before.
Call me Klavier. Klavier Gavin, leader of the Gaviners. Although, that's a bit of a hobby compared to my legal duties.
First impressions are not great.
I see. You must be the new prosecutor who's related to defense attorney Kristoph Gavin.
My bro is quite famous in this part of town, I realize. Yes, it's true. We're brothers. Great to see you in attendance at the show, Kristoph.
The pleasure is all mine, Klavier. I look forward to seeing you display your abilities in this field.
Oh, it's always such an honor to host a family reunion.
I'm here too, guys.
Ahem. Anyways?
I have to call you out here, Judge.
What?
Where's the party? The lights and the dancing, the pulsing beat. I thought this was supposed to be a family reunion.
I never liked those very much.
Wow. He is a lot, huh?
Don't get flustered, Mr. Wright. Just let him get it out of his system.
All right.
Prosecutor Gavin, I would like you to begin with your opening statements regarding this case.
Achtung, baby. Get ready for the insane opening act for this hot night of passion.
It's 10 a.m.
Here, Judge. Drop the beat. 6 days ago, about an hour before midnight on the 13th, one Magnifi Gramarye, aged 67, was shot square in the forehead on his hospital bed. Like myself, he was a big showman. There's nothing more exciting than the thrill of the stage, yeah? All the details of his death can be found in this autopsy report.
I'll give that document a solid read. You simply focus on Klavier, all right?
As for the reason Mr. Gramarye found himself forced to pay the outrageous hospital bills, he came down with a malignant tumor growing in his liver. More details can be found within this file. As for the conclusion of this set list, take a good look at this pivotal moment captured by forensics.
There's something odd about this photo, but I can't quite put my finger on it.
Oh my! This is all rather conclusive indeed. Naturally, The court accepts the forensics crime scene photograph into evidence.
And with the opening act out of the way, I believe Mr. Jimshoe will be able to answer any and all questions still present in your spiky head, yeah?
Detective Jimshoe? Oh, he's talking about him. I didn't know he'd be involved. Not that I actually knew anything about this case to begin with.
Thank you for your opening statement, Prosecutor Gavin. Let's have Detective Gumshoe take the stand.
Your name and occupation, mein friend?
The name's Dick Gumshoe, pal. I'm the lead detective on this case and a homicide detective at the precinct.
Good to see you, Detective. Although, are you wearing that, tan coat again? Oh, I thought I told you to stop wearing that hideous thing.
Yes, that tacky piece of fabric is rather disagreeable. I've seen better fashion on those low-rate late-night runway shows.
You're so mean, pal. Maggie made this for me herself. Guess I'll change into something more familiar.
That's more like it. I don't want to see that other one again. You hear?
Not that courtroom fashion hour isn't great and all, but there is a murder trial going on. You know, someone died.
Yes, right. Of course, my apologies. Detective, your testimony, please.
Right away, sir. Actually, the victim kinda ordered the defendant to do him in. A few days before it happened, the victim sent a letter ordering his own murder. The defendant did what was asked of him and shot the old man in the forehead. The bullet was fired from the pistol found at the scene, no doubt about it. Not only that, the pistol has the defendant's prints on him. And the pistol definitely belonged to the old man, sir. There's nothing else he could have shot with it, pal.
Well, the more I hear about this case, the guiltier the defendant seems to get.
Thank you for the passionate testimony, Detective.
You got it, pal. Oh, and before I forget it, here's the murder weapon. It's a stage pistol used for one of the Gramarye's magic tricks.
There are a number of things that stick out to me here. For starters, if Mr. Enigmar truly did take Magnifi's life, why would he leave the gun at the scene of the crime?
In plain view, no less.
Yeah. I'll try poking some holes into the testimony and keep that in the back of my mind.
Excellent.
Actually, the victim kinda ordered the defendant to do him in. A few days before it happened, the victim sent a letter ordering his own murder.
Hold it! What did this letter entail exactly?
Well, you see, pal.
I have it right here, Herr Spiky.
Wait, is he calling me Spiky Hair or Mr. Spiky?
Hey, hotshot, that was pretty rude, pal.
One fateful evening, Mr. Enigmar received a mysterious letter from his master of magic, saying that, at exactly 11:05 p.m. sharp, his student is to appear in his hospital room and shoot him dead. Actually, brother, would you care to read out the last sentence to the court?
I suppose I could. You cannot refuse, and we both know the reason why.
What do you suggest this means, Prosecutor Gavin?
It suggests the formerly successful magician still had an oath to his craft.
Would you care to translate?
Running out of patience already? Look, the fact of the matter is that the defendant was ordered by his master to kill him for a secret reason.
Objection! Prosecutor Gavin, unless you can specify what this secret reason actually is, this argument has no basis.
Objection! All I'm saying is this. The last sentence of the letter makes it abundantly clear that the victim was blackmailed. Pray tell, Herr Attorney, what other meaning could that fateful final sentence possess?
I agree with Mr. Gavin. It is highly probable that this was some form of blackmail.
Makes sense to me.
If you would, please submit this letter to the court record.
Right on, Herr Judge.
Everything will be fine, though. This hotshot's got nothing on Kristoph and I.
The defendant did what was asked of him and shot the old man in the forehead. The bullet was fired from the pistol found at the scene, no doubt about it.
Hold it! Earlier, you mentioned the stage pistol being important for a magic trick. Could you elaborate more on that?
Well, sure thing, pal. I've taken Maggie to that show a bunch of times already. It's a blast, literally.
The gun, Detective.
Right, sorry, pal. The gun was used for a magic trick called Zak and Valant's Quick Draw Shoot 'em. Basically, Zak and his partner Valant would shoot each other on stage, but the bullets would hit everything on stage except the other person.
Ah, yes. Zak told me about that one back in the Defendant Lobby, I remember.
Not only that, the pistol has the defendant's prints on him.
Hold it! Could you elaborate more on the gun as a whole?
It's gold-plated and can only hold one bullet at a time.
Only one bullet?
Interesting.
Are there any mechanisms with the gun tailored towards the nature of the magic act?
Nope, the gun's as regular as they come. The mechanisms used in the act are handled by the staging itself.
So essentially, this mechanism holds zero importance to the actual murder, yeah? There is no need to explain it further, Detective.
Just one more question, Detective. If there weren't any mechanisms, was there any additional ammo found at the scene?
There was no additional ammo found at the scene of the crime or on the defendant at the time of his arrest.
I think I can use this.
And the pistol definitely belonged to the old man, sir. There's nothing else he could have shot with it, pal.
Objection! Detective Gumshoe, I admire your attention to detail as always.
Oh, thank you, sir. I was worried you were going to correct me or something.
Well, he will.
Oh.
Where did all this confidence come from?
In your testimony, you claimed that the only thing the defendant could have shot was Magnifi, correct?
I mean, the gun only has one bullet, and there's a shot man in the room, so that's just logic, pal.
Detective, did you look beyond the victim's body for additional bullet holes?
Of course, pal. This isn't my first murder investigation.
I'm sorry, Detective, but you didn't investigate thoroughly enough.
Huh?
Right then, good. I was hoping you noticed that as well. Doesn't seem to take you very long to progress the trial these days.
I try my best. If the court would take a look at the crime scene photo once more, we can clearly see that there was a second shot fired. Take that! One fact you have previously established, Detective Gumshoe, is that the gun can only hold up to one bullet. You have furthermore established that there was no additional ammo anywhere near the scene or on the defendant. The only possible conclusion is that there were two guns, and with a very high chance, two gunmen. One simply took their gun with them, and the other, the defendant in this case, did not. Which begs the question, which of the two gunmen shot the clown, and which shot the victim?
That is indeed an interesting point.
Splendid deduction, Mr. Wright. Though I wouldn't get too confident just yet. Take a gander at the other side of the courtroom.
Oh, Herr Attorney, when will you learn? There's a number of theoretical rebuttals I could give on this line of reasoning. I haven't actually proven anything yet, mind you. Yes, it is as you claim. There is a second bullet inside the clown teddy, and the gunpowder marks make it apparent it was shot that night, no less. You're completely right, right?
Damn! Was he planning for me to go down this route from the very beginning?
Withholding evidence, are we?
Not at all, dear brother.
Objection!
I thought I was quite clear with you. If you were to enter my realm from your egregious day job as a rock star, that you would understand and respect the rules of law you studied for so long.
Was it also not you who advised me to always keep an ace up my sleeve?
I demand you two to stop your bickering. Please return to the case at hand. Prosecution, what exactly is this ace you speak of?
I believe it's time for my grand performance, yeah? The prosecution calls the mysterious second gunman, Valant Gramarye, to the stand. Detective, you are dismissed.
All right, sir.
Alakazoom!
Witness, what is with this entrance? Prosecutor Gavin, have you not instructed your witness on proper courtroom etiquette?
Indeed I have, Herr Judge. In this court of law, everyone must be as big of a showman as can be. How else will this ever get exciting otherwise?
Witness, from this point forward, please demonstrate proper courtroom behavior.
All right, Your Honor.
I knew Valant would play a factor in the Master's death. I just have to see how involved he really was.
Witness, if I could divert attention to the trial at hand, it would be vital to hear—
Objection! Not your turn, brother. I have some business to take care of. I don't need you to be lecturing, yeah?
Well, Prosecutor Gavin, please proceed.
Introduce yourself, witness.
My name is Valant Gramarye, magician at heart and soul.
Rock on, rock on. Now, my decisive witness will be sharing an important tale.
I eagerly await, Prosecutor Gavin.
The question that's probably sitting on the tongues of our dear defender duo is, witness, whatever were you doing in the hospital visiting Magnifi that fateful night?
Ah, yes. The answer to that is quite simple, truly. You see, I too was sent a dreadful letter akin to Zak's. Indeed, its contents are the same, with a different time, of course.
Mr. Wright, do you notice that the time gap between the letters is rather large?
I do. Something to keep in the back of our minds.
The court accepts the second letter as evidence.
Witness, you do realize that, given the current body of evidence, you are just as likely a suspect as the defendant?
Hold your horses! I believe I can substitute that outlandish claim of yours with testimony.
Very well then, witness. Please testify about the night of the crime.
If Mr. Enigmar is not the one responsible for the death of Magnifi, then it must be Valant who's responsible. Time to shatter his smoke and mirrors.
That night, I visited the hospital room at the time Magnifi requested. The smell of gunpowder hung in the room, and my mentor had taken his final bow. Just take a gander at the time of death on your autopsy report. You would quickly realize that he died during Zak's visit, and not my own. Yet a deal with the dead is still a deal. Death's sweet kiss, I gave to the clown.
Ah, right. The time of death. That somehow managed to slip my mind.
According to this, the victim died between 11 and 11:30 p.m., 25 minutes before Valant was meant to appear.
If I press hard enough, I'm sure the testimony will begin to fall under the smoke and mirrors.
That night, I visited the hospital room at the time Magnifi requested.
Hold it! Could you explain the circumstances around the letter? Why did he want his disciples to kill him? And what does the final sentence mean?
I'm afraid the former I myself don't know the answer to. And the latter, I am not willing to indulge. I apologize.
I see no problem. It has no holding on the case. All that matters is that both you and the defendant were blackmailed by the victim. No further information is necessary to continue, eh?
Anything else on that night in particular?
Yes. I had already made plans to eat after the meeting, as I did not expect it to take any longer than 10 minutes. Discussions longer than 10 minutes are a waste of time, and those longer than 15 a torture, Magnifi would often say. But who expected the food to turn so sour so quickly?
I see. Continue, witness.
The smell of gunpowder hung in the room, and my mentor had taken his final bow. Just take a gander at the time of death on your autopsy report. You would quickly realize that he died during Zak's visit, and not my own.
Hold it! How exactly was the time of death established, anyhow?
Thank you for asking. You see, the victim was receiving an IV transfusion. When he was shot, the syringe fell out of the IV bag, halting the transfusion. The liquid still remaining in the bag, alongside the time documented where the transfusion began, have both been used to establish the victim's exact time of death.
Very thorough. You're already taking my court of law as seriously as the defense.
I see. Thank you, prosecutor. I don't think this kid needs any more ego, Your Honor.
That's easy to manipulate, I imagine, especially since the syringe has been wiped clean.
Yet, a deal with the dead is still a deal. Death's sweet kiss I gave to the clown.
Hold it! There's only one bullet in the murder weapon. What did you use to shoot the clown?
You see, there was a second pistol, the very same model as Zak's. Our mentor made sure all his disciples had the same pistol, a trademark of our troupe.
Right on. Which suggests that the Master's disciples all had the opportunity to do the deal. But only one has the evidence to make them guilty. And timing is everything.
Yes. If the defendant had met with the deceased as documented, that leaves our witness guilty of shooting a clown only.
Take a look here. This one has no fingerprints on it as opposed to the murder weapon.
Let me see. Ah!
I take it you need no further advice?
Right. I know just what to request. Mr. Gramarye, could you please expand your testimony to elaborate on this second pistol?
Huzzah! We'll do so. I love it when my guests ask for more of my performance. Given the pistol in the palm of my hand, I received the very same in that unnerving room.
Hold it! Do the ballistic markings differ? Could we decipher which pistol was used to shoot the victim and which was used to shoot the clown?
Both pistols are identical. This includes ballistic markings.
I see. Another question. Witness, why does this gun have no fingerprints despite the fact it was used by you?
Aha! Of course! All of us were wearing our showman garbs that night as we were summoned by our mentor. It would be improper to face him with civilian clothing.
All of us? That's an odd phrase to use for two people.
You're right. I'll keep it in mind. Witness, would you be so kind as to append what you just said to your testimony?
Another encore? You never seem to tire of my magical brilliance. I will follow your wishes.
Your cooperation is appreciated, witness.
All of us were wearing our magical attires, well suited to face our master.
Objection! Your Honor! A magician never reveals their secrets and seldom reveals their lies.
Oh?
Herr Attorney, have you lost yourself to old age already?
I assure you I have not. Take that! I'd like for the court to reconsider Zak Gramarye's pistol. My client's fingerprint markings are preserved.
Which is perplexing given the witness's testimony.
Yes. What Mr. Gavin is getting at is the attire. If my client was truly wearing his magician attire, as Valant Gramarye continues to claim, then there should be no fingerprints on his pistol.
Ah, yes, there's Mr. Wright getting revved up now.
I thought you adored my performances. You led me on.
No, Mr. Gramarye. You were the one who led us to believe that Zak had his gloves on when he visited the victim, given the complete attire the troupe wears.
Objection! So what? You simply didn't see Zak, that's all.
Hold it! If he didn't see Zak and simply saw no one but himself, there would be no reason for him to say they were wearing their costumes. No, Prosecutor Gavin, I actually believe you're right. He didn't see Zak that night. But the part that isn't true is that he saw nobody but himself.
And who did he see then?
Let's go back to review some things we've established previously. First, the times. The first letter, sent to the defendant, told him to meet with the victim at 11:05 p.m. The second letter, that we know of anyway, sent to the witness, told him to meet with the victim at 11:55 p.m. Would the meeting with the victim really have taken 50 minutes in full? I disagree. Given what we know of the victim, he would rather keep his meetings short and concise. Isn't that true, witness? He would not keep ample times between the meetings, I imagine. Furthermore, earlier you made use of the phrase, all of us, when talking about the people who received a letter by Magnifi. My counsel pointed out that if there were only 2 people that night, you would surely use a different phrase, no?
Objection! This is all semantics. A veteran lawyer using simple wordplay in this concert?
Objection! Brother, you have no grounds to claim that the witness wouldn't be cognizant of the amount of people who visited Magnifi that night. The number of persons present at the scene of a crime is always of the utmost importance.
I must agree with Mr. Gavin.
Which one? The defense claims the existence of an unknown third party, a third disciple summoned by the victim in between the defendant and the witness, one whose testimony could be vital to revealing the truth of the case.
Objection! There were only 2 guns. If there was truly a third disciple, would there not have been a third gun for him to use?
Objection! Prosecution. Recall what the witness did with the gun assigned to him, if you would.
Now hold on.
Valant Gramarye pocketed the gun given to him. There's no indication a third disciple didn't do the same.
That is certainly possible, defense.
As for the identity of this mysterious third magician, there are only 2 possible candidates involved in the troupe who have yet to take the stand. First, the Zak Gramarye. However, she sadly passed away in an accident a few years ago. That leaves one other possible individual.
Troupe Gramarye. We were like family in a way. Me, Thalassa, Valant, Magnifi. And I suppose there was that other guy too, Rias. He was never as close as the rest of us were, but he definitely had a presence. No. Can't be.
I am quite confused. Defense, who is this third individual, really?
As my client here once reminded me, an often forgotten member of the group. Rias.
Valant, is it true? Was he there?
Well,
Witness, what is the meaning of this?
he was, well...
Out with it, witness.
What is going on?
Alakazam!
Well, I believe the defense has effectively placed doubt on the court's current understanding of who was present in the hospital room that night. At least I believe that is fair to say.
I think we're finally getting somewhere.
For certain. All we really needed was the evidence given to us in the here and now.
This can't be my only shot at law.
Hold it! Hold on to your hats. My tricks have been discovered. Yes, I shall reveal to all who gaze with their eyes that Mr. Rias was present that night.
Of course.
That night, when I arrived to meet my mentor, his corpse was not the only thing in the room. There was also Raja Ratings, a former disciple of Magnifi's, who was forced to leave 4 years prior, as he was unable to meet the high expectations of our leader. He was never a core member of the troupe, really. Even his name. He refused to adopt the Gramarye title, instead calling himself Mr. Rias. However, that night, I implore you, ladies and gentlemen, to hear my words. He did not kill Magnifi. It was that blasted Enigmar, always trying to throw a wrench into the perfect cogwork of our troupe.
Whatever the case, Mr. Rias saw the corpse first. The defense implores the court to hear his testimony.
I quite agree. We must arrange this. Therefore, an immediate recess is in order, as we search the whereabouts of this estranged magician. All personnel must clear the room.